All right, back at it once again. Gentlemen, Bob here, prepping to break down some Bitcoin. Let's get right down to it. Um, Starting out on the daily here, and then I'll zoom in on the action as usual. But yeah, I mean, as far as this part goes, um, it, tough to say on this one. I mean, the stochastic RSI looks like it's going to curve down. If I dropped a line across here, maybe it's still got a little further that it could go up, but it does look as though there's feasibility right now, at least, that this thing's going to curve over on itself. But part of it has to do with whether it can hold this level right here, or if it needs to pull back further. And the RSI itself right now certainly looks as though it's not vastly interested in getting out of the oversold territory just yet. And maybe it'll come back down. I'd have to go back and take a look at where that line actually comes into play, but maybe touches that, begins a nice little uptrend. I mean, we do have, feasibility here that, if you connect these lines here, draw a line up there, it's feasibility that this thing could move. Now, yesterday we actually did close on top of this, support resistance zone right here. So this could just be a matter of simply back testing this low over here, and at some point today this thing is going to bust up out of there. It needs to make its way all the way up to here, and more importantly, if it's gonna continue to move up, it needs to realistically break through this level. And frankly, I don't know how realistic that is at the moment. I'd be far more inclined to believe that it comes up and is rejected either by this level or by this level. But, still, a chance at something in the 22 range, at least feasible. I don't know if that's in the cards specifically. But, again, we got a stochastic RSI that is curled up. It is pushing up. It just looks like it wants to curl over on itself, but it does that at times, right? And, here you can look at an example of where it looked like it was going to curl over on itself, and then it actually sprung up. Now, granted, in this particular instance, it didn't really provide any positive momentum for it. That it wasn't until over here that it actually moved up in price. Here it was still moving down, even though stochastic was moving up. So this is not a perfect... this is not a perfect indicator, and that's why it's so important to be able to bring all of them together. And I think in this case, that's probably the most logical thing. Again, looking at it, just saying, all right, well, looks like it could curl over on itself, but until we actually see that happen, we've got. I probably mentioned it the other day. We've got, potential bullish divergence. Lower lows, equivalent lows here. Maybe a little bit down here in the RSI as well, maybe to a lesser extent, but still possible there. And then also the MACD itself shows a bullish divergence because we've got equivalent levels of lows here as well, not just the histogram. So again, we've got some positives there. This thing is curling up to the positive side, or at least trying to push back to the zero baseline, right? Again, you could see in other periods of time when it is curling to the upside, it doesn't always, even after it turns green, it's not always moving up. That's why they're just indicators, right? That's why I can't just rely on these solely to make trades. There's a lot that goes into it, obviously. That being stated, let's take a look at the shorter time frame. I don't have a whole lot for you guys today. This thing, we can look at the weekly if we want. It looks like garbage still. We know what we're looking for. We got to push up to 22, essentially, on the day or on the weekly. On the monthly, we don't have to get quite as high, but we still got to get up there. So we got to work our way up there. Let's get this out of the way though. Let me bring in this guy, and only because I was talking about a concept yesterday. Oops, that's not what we wanted to do. I was talking about a concept yesterday that maybe this thing will form into a fairly large, kind of a complex inverse head and shoulder pattern, and it's still intact at the moment. I mean, it's not dead in the water just yet. We did get a higher high than this guy, but again, we got to take out this high soon, or this thing will come back off the rails. It's not a given that this pattern will play out, and I've seen plenty of them break down recently. But the other positive thing I think I could take from looking at this screen here, is that we've got a descending trend line that cut through the price action here. Volume for a breakout, questionable, right? But come up, put in a touch up here, and now we've come back down and put in at least a touch back down here. Here's what this is all going to come down to. If Bitcoin fails to be able to break through, say, this level, close to 21,000, 20,900, somewhere in that region, then instead of, then it increases the likelihood that this becomes a head and shoulder, at which point we're going to be looking at downside targets again. In the event that it holds this level and it can break back through here and at least come back up, put in a double top at the very least, then at that stage we've at least got an opportunity to go ahead and keep this inverse head and shoulder pattern going. And again, we got to come back up here. Got to. It's a must. I would love to see this thing rebound off this level and just keep cooking to the upside. I just don't know that that's realistic. I mean, the way that the moving averages are all lined up here would not necessarily suggest that that's totally logical. Now, the one positive thing that I see here is that on the 4 hour, right now, the 21 is being supportive, and you'll see here we only got 30 minutes before this candle closes. So if it can maintain its current position, and then that's at least a positive. But again, we've got a situation where we've already got a stochastic RSI that doesn't look like it wants to be in our favor. You can see here with the Heikinashi candles, kind of what happens when you start to form these smaller ones here. These are maybe better examples because it was during an uptrend. This one, is the uptrend still intact? Yeah, to an extent. But it's, you can see here that potentially these could have been looked at as lower lows. It looks a little different than on the candles. I mean, you can see here, if we do it this way, then you could say pretty safely that we've yet to put in a lower low. Again, the problem is going to be that this area right here, this 20,800-ish area, we just can't flip it into resistance right now. Otherwise, then we are coming back down without a doubt. So, those are things going to be looking for. It actually pushed up pretty decent. I mean, this price is higher than I had seen it a few minutes ago. So, a little positive there. But yeah, I mean, the goal here is just for Bitcoin to hold this level, turn this maybe into like a smaller double bottom. But again, it's got to clear this area, or you can see where previously price action was getting stuffed right there. We don't want price action to get stuffed right there, but it seems far more likely to me that it will, simply because of the fact that we've got the 21 lined up directly over top of the 200 here as far as the moving averages. And I mean, Bitcoin's going to have to pump hard through there in order to break it. So that's really, again, that's really what we're looking for. I mean, we can't clear this level. We're probably short. We clear this level. We're generally speaking long up to this level. But as of right now, again, and this is the other thing too, is it's nice with these Fibonacci levels here. Right now, based on this being the 0 point and the fall from here being the 1.0, the initial action over here is to the 0.5, but the reality is this would have been the 0 point before, so maybe this was a 382 or a 236, and then now though we're trying to scale back up here. We're back into the 236, right? We're over 20,000, which is obviously an important level here. You can see that it's holding up as an important level. Now we just gotta we gotta at least get back up to here. Ideally clear that, and then at least get back up to here. This is what all needs to happen, and realistically, again, if we go ahead and just jump over to the weekly briefly, we need all that to happen in the next 4.5 days, basically. Can it? Will it? Sure, maybe. We shall find out. But that's really all I got for you guys today. I mean, it's, you can see we're just kind of ranging here. I mean, what realistically has been in this range since, let's just say, from right here, basically. So the last 3 days, we've basically just been ranging between 20,000 and 21.5, which again, the 21.5 is ballpark where the 50 simple moving average on the monthly is. So again, that's a huge deal. We gotta take out that level. So, all right, gentlemen, I appreciate it as always. Look forward to catching up soon. Nice short, sweet video today. Not much more to say. The only other thing we could maybe take a look at real briefly is just kind of see where the market is planning to open up today. And I imagine after yesterday, today's probably not going to be, intending to open much to the positive side, if at all. Frankly, I doubt highly that we're. Well, interestingly, the S&P is still showing up, and all the other indices are showing down this morning. So that's kind of an interesting deal there. 1.5% down on the Dow and Nasdaq, and then S&P showing up to 0.33%. I don't know that that's realistic. I've had questions about the validity of that website here recently, but in either case, at least we've got a general idea. Looks like if that's correct, if what we saw is correct, and it's a mixed bag. But I would say in general, I don't have a great deal of faith that today is going to present anything vastly positive, but it could. I'm just taking a look at a very short-term chart on the S&P right now, and I don't know. It's kind of reminding me a little bit of Bitcoin on shorter-term time frames at the moment, where it's been trying to poke up above a level it just can't, and it just kind of leveling out. So it may very well pull back. It could very well be hard. I don't know. Honestly, I actually would, if the S&P pulled back to around 3,700 and held that level, I would actually be okay with that, because that's similar to what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin. Is just basically that if we can hold certain levels, then what we'll end up seeing is something that looks a lot like a inverse head and shoulder. I guess I'll bring it in for a brief moment here. But yeah, if it can just, this again, it looks somewhat similar to Bitcoin, at least, where we're trying to form something of a reversal pattern, kind of inverse head and shoulders. Ideally, I'd like to see this break up here, and then if it's going to retest, that's fine. But it cannot fall below this level again, right? Like, it needs to. If it's going to do it, it's going to have to hold here. This doesn't look amazing. I mean, that looks like a topping type of pattern forming there. So, don't have a ton of faith in what I'm seeing there, but nonetheless, it's what it is, and we will deal with it accordingly. But hey, again, short, sweet today, to the point. Appreciate you guys. Looking forward to catching up here soon. Enjoy your day.